I'm here with Abdullah. We're outside the John Smith Stadium. We've lost today, Abdullah. That was dreadful, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awful. I think frustrating part about that, I think it was very, very Van Gaal-esque, where there was no intent when we were behind in games, and I think when Matic had that chance, obviously it gets deflected off. It's the way we gave the goals away. I don't think. All right, fair enough to Huddersfield. I think they got the 2 goals. That's the way they're going to play any team at that level. So
big defensive errors. Right?
Yeah, there were big defensive errors. It's easy, as simple as that. And Lindelof, it's what you expect from him. I mean, when he did come, people were saying that, oh, he's the next. Some people were saying he's going to be replacing Rio and Vidic with Baye. It's not simple as that. I mean, Rojo and Baye have been our best the partnership that we've relied on within the past few months. I mean, from last season, they're not there, and then you got Jones and Smalling who've come in. Jones has been good. Smalling, I always think
Jones injured again today.
He's injured again, and it was always going to happen. It was always going to come anytime soon.
Are the injuries any excuse? Because we're missing Pogba, we're missing Fellaini, Carrick, then Jones now, Rojo, Bailey, etc.
I think when you look at Smart, for example, when you look at Baye, you can put in Jones or you can put in a Smalling there, and you can replace him and do a job just like we've seen at Benfica. But when you look at the player of the likes of Pogba, I really like Herrera, especially after his performances last season. But this season, when you're playing him next to Matic, it's a bit too similar at times. Both of them are trying to do the same job, cutting the ball out. There's no one bringing the ball out, bringing it forward, creating chances, getting into the box. That's a different game plan. That's with Pogba. But then you got with Fellaini, he plays it simple, and then he gets into the box, and there's always that second player with Lukaku to break a team. Sometimes aren't. Mkhitaryan, again, he's just a bit too simple. Sometimes he keeps it. There's not that killer pass. I said it last week. Same thing. There's nothing too special about him sometimes. Mkhitaryan, the problem is we know that he has that talent. It's a bit like Nani when we had him. It's that consistency of those performances and always getting those assists and so on. It's sort of dried out recently. You look at City, they got Bernardo Silva, David Silva, De Bruyne, and listen, I'm not that type of guy to go, oh, look at what City got, look at what. But I'm just saying that we could maybe dig in and get better squad depth, because I like Lingard.
Is that why you think we're linked to the likes of Ozil? Because we haven't got that depth of City?
Yeah, and listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Ozil, especially of recent seasons. I mean, but I think under a manager like Mourinho, to put him under that pressure, Wenger hasn't got that. Mourinho will 100% get the best out of Ozil. I'm so sure of that. And he'll also put the pressure on Mkhitaryan and Mata to perform. And people are saying, how are you going to fit them all in? Well, look at us now. We've had to look at Lingard.
But having said that, talking about players that aren't here, we've had enough to win today. This is a Huddersfield side that haven't scored since September the 16th, haven't won since August, and we've lost.
Yeah, it sounds like all excuses now when I'm saying it, but like you said, it's simple as that. It's simple as that we had good enough players, they just didn't do the job. You're professional football.
Down to the manager?
United, stop just lumping up the pitch. No, it's second half. Well, I mean, he should have cut Martial on, in my eyes. Rashford on the right, Martial on the left, Lukaku up front. That's a threat right there. They're going to struggle to deal with that. But there was no one creative there. That's why if you keep Martial in there, then you got 2 goal scorers in Rashford and Lukaku, as well as Martial for transfers to him. Lingard was dropping in too deep, and we know, even though I do like Lingard, he's not good enough on the ball. His movement off the ball is good sometimes. He did an okay cross or two, but his touch isn't the best, and we needed someone with a bit of quality against these sides. I've said it before, Mata and Mkhitaryan are the likes that might, Mata made that mistake at the start. Those are the players that will break teams down, and unfortunately he should have kept a bit more quality in terms of maybe Martial or Mata, someone who's good on the ball. Only Matic was trying to create, Herrera at times, but those players are limited because they're defensive midfielders. You can't expect them to pop out with a pass. So all we were seeing in that second half was Lindelof getting the ball in the midfield and then lumping it up the pitch. Ashley Young just smacking it. I'm
going to let you get out of the rain in a minute.
No,
it's
gone, that's it.
Like this today, is it the end of the world? One brief look at social media, and it will have you saying United are shit, Mourinho needs to go, we're not going to win the league, all that stuff. How are you feeling overall?
Well, you know how it is, Adams, with our fans as soon as you look on the internet and that. But listen, the fans that come here today in this rain and travelled down, I mean, it's not too far, but that made the effort. Some of them enjoyed themselves, even though we did lose. Those are the fans that matter, and those are the voices that matter, not the people that... Of course, people, have a voice, but some people overreact at times for myself. I just see it as an overreaction. I'd come out today and say, listen, some of the changes were wrong in the game. There was no creativity. There was loads of mistakes. But I wouldn't overreact to...
Could this be a kick? Because against Liverpool wasn't good enough. Benfica wasn't good enough, but we got away with them. We didn't get away with it today. So could this be the actual kick up the arse?
This could be the one. I mean, we spoke to someone as well when we were in earlier, and he said that to us. He said this could be the game that turns it around to us. He was relating it to the Portsmouth game where we lost
Binzi.
on the Fergie. Yeah, and
would have seen Binzi's FANCAM.
Yeah, and I remember Rio Ferdinand's own goal, and I remember the best thing about that was the reaction of our rival fans, because we were doing well that season. I was only a kid back then, but I remember going into school and everyone, you know, proper having a go at United because we were doing so well, and that's a bit of the reaction you're getting from rivals because they know we've got it. It's just that there's a bit more that needs to change, a bit better decision making. We're not far off. Listen, do well. We've already started well. People straight away coming out, oh, Mourinho this, Mourinho that. He made his mistakes. Listen, let's see what happens next week. I mean, we're winning 4-0 quite a lot at the start of the season against sides like this. It happens. That draw against Liverpool might attract us back a bit, but we need to win that next week, that game next week, 100% against Tottenham. That might be the game that maybe sets us off, especially proving the point that we do play well against the big pies.
Is there any positives today? I was going to ask you for a man of the match, but I'm not.
No, I think Rashford, when he came on, I think was great. That ball from Lukaku was decent. Shows that he might be able to do something on the ball. But overall, no, it's just not good enough for a United side. That's meant to be challenging for the title. Let's get on with it next week and see what happens at Tottenham midweek against Swansea. Let's hope he rests some players because he's going to have to rest some players. But one thing though, I need to know what that situation is with the likes of Pogba and Rojo coming back. There's been no updates from Mourinho or anyone at United, which is very frustrating. But
we've done a full 2-3 circles here. We just keep going around.
Like I know, man. But
we're not on a roundabout, promise, guys.
I am frustrated at that though. That's why I wanted to say something before I left, because we need to know when those players are back, because those are vital players to us.
Cheers, Abdullah.